The human who wouldn't break the Academy's new challenge, the Intergalactic Military Academy, buzzed with nervous energy as cadets from 17 different species gathered in the main training hall. Commander Vex High, a towering crystalline being from the Zeltharian homeworld, stood before the assembled group. Her translucent blue form caught the artificial light, creating rainbow patterns across the metallic walls. "Today marks your final survival assessment," she announced, her voice resonating through specialized translators. "The hostile environment simulator will test your limits. Many of you possess natural adaptations that will serve you well." Lieutenant Marcus Rodriguez adjusted his standard-issue gear, feeling the weight of curious stares from his fellow cadets. At 6 feet tall, with dark hair and brown eyes, he looked unremarkable compared to his alien classmates. The Thermatians could survive in volcanic conditions, the Cryonians thrived in sub-zero temperatures, and the Aquarians could extract oxygen from various atmospheric compositions. The simulation begins. The simulator chamber stretched before them like a vast frozen wasteland. Snow whipped through the air, and the temperature readings showed -40 degrees Celsius. Ice formations jutted from the ground like crystal teeth, and the artificial wind howled with frightening intensity. "Survive for 6 hours, Commander Vexhai instructed. Use any means necessary. The simulation will increase in difficulty every hour." The Cryonian cadets immediately felt at home, their thick fur coats and natural antifreeze blood giving them obvious advantages. The Thermatians activated their internal heating systems, while the Vorthack species deployed their natural camouflage abilities to hide from the harsh conditions. Marcus pulled his thermal gear tighter and began moving. Unlike his classmates, he had no special adaptations beyond basic human physiology. He would need to rely on something else entirely. First hour crisis, the first challenge came when Marcus's heating unit malfunctioned. Warning lights flashed red as the device died, leaving him exposed to the brutal cold. Around him, other cadets watched with mixture of sympathy and expectation. Surely the human would signal for extraction now. Instead, Marcus began gathering materials. He collected metal scraps from the simulated wreckage scattered throughout the environment. Using his emergency tools, he fashioned a crude wind barrier and began a systematic exercise routine. His body heat increased as he performed jumping jacks, push-ups, and running in place. "Fascinating," murmured Cadet Zephyr, a 6-armed hexapod. "The human is generating thermal energy through muscular activity." The stakes rise as the second hour began. The simulation introduced new threats. Razor-sharp ice shards flew through the air like projectiles, and the ground became unstable. Several cadets with natural armor shielded themselves easily, while others used their species' unique abilities to navigate the dangers. Marcus dove behind his makeshift shelter, feeling ice fragments slice through the air inches from his face. His breath formed clouds in the frigid air, but he remained focused. He began dismantling parts of his shelter to create a mobile shield, constantly adapting his strategy as conditions changed. When a young Aquarian cadet named Bubble TH began struggling with the dry, thin atmosphere, Marcus shared his emergency oxygen supply without hesitation. The gesture surprised everyone, including Commander Vex High, who watched from the observation deck. Beyond normal limits, the third hour brought the simulation beyond standard parameters. The temperature dropped to -60 degrees, and electromagnetic interference disabled most advanced equipment. Even the naturally adapted species began struggling as multiple systems failed simultaneously. Marcus's lips had turned blue, and his fingers were numb despite his constant movement. Ice crystals formed on his eyebrows, and his breathing became labored. By all logic, he should have collapsed or requested evacuation. Instead, he helped construct a group shelter using debris and the combined resources of struggling cadets. While others panicked, Marcus remained calm, directing the construction with steady hands despite the violent shaking from cold. The impossible test, the final phase, pushed everyone to their absolute limits. The simulation created an avalanche scenario with limited oxygen and crushing pressure. Most cadets activated their emergency beacons, accepting defeat rather than risking serious injury. Marcus found himself trapped under simulated snow with Cadet Zephyr, whose multiple arms had become frozen and useless. The oxygen was running out, and the weight above them seemed impossible to move. Human Marcus, Zephyr, gasped, "You should save yourself. My species accepts honorable defeat." Marcus looked at his alien companion and shook his head. Humans don't leave people behind. The breakthrough with methodical precision, Marcus began digging. His movements were slow but steady, conserving oxygen while making progress. He used his body heat to melt ice, creating small air pockets. When his hands became too numb to work effectively, he used his elbows and shoulders. Hour after hour, he continued. His body screamed in protest, his vision blurred from exhaustion. But something deep in his human core refused to quit. It was the same stubborn determination that had driven his ancestors to cross frozen continents and survive impossible odds. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, his hand broke, through to open air. He had created an escape route through pure persistence and refusal to surrender. The Revelation Commander Vex High ended the simulation as Marcus emerged, helping Cadet Zephyr to safety. The human's lips were blue, his skin was pale, and ice crystals clung to his hair, but his eyes remained determined and alert. "Extraordinary," the commander said, her crystalline form shimmering with what might have been admiration. "Lieutenant Rodriguez, your species possesses no obvious environmental adaptations. How did you succeed where others failed?" Marcus managed a tired smile. "Commander, humans might not be the strongest, fastest, or most specialized species in the galaxy, but we have something that's gotten us through every challenge in our history." "And what is that?" "We're too stubborn to know when to quit." The new understanding as the other cadets gathered around, a new respect filled their eyes. They had witnessed something remarkable, not superhuman strength or impossible technology, but the raw power of human determination. Commander Vex High made a note in her report that would change how the Academy viewed human cadets. Sometimes she realized the greatest strength isn't in natural adaptation or advanced technology. Sometimes it's simply in refusing to break no matter what the universe throws at you. The human spirit, it seemed, was indeed something to be reckoned with.